of Mauna Kea and the 30-meter scope, but that's not the issue with me. The issue with me is we as a people of this world have got to be better. Look where we've gone. There's a Vietnam memorial down from this building that was put up there by members of Vietnam as far as families. On this small island, I think there's 46 or so boys that died in that war. And I sit there and I know some of the people that died in this small town of Hilo. 15 people, boys died in that war. 7 from the district I come from, right down the street, which is Puna. I want the world to know how wrong it was for us to have created a situation where they would have to die and never see the light of the future. For what? Mauna Kea, to me, and all conflicts of that, of us becoming people of intolerance, selfishness or greed, there's got to be a better way. And that's why I've said that. I consider mankind war of each other our greatest failure. And I'm not talking about war between countries. I'm talking about between individuals. We've got to be better.
So the vision for the park as a cosmopolitan place with science and culture would still continue whether or not the 30-meter telescope would be in Hawaii?
Yes, the only thing is the 30-meter scope made it a great opportunity to enhance that. And I've said this to people. The 30-meter scope is, as you may know, funded by 5 different countries, of the United States, of China, of Japan, of India, and of Canada. I think they have all indicated in their way what a beautiful monument this 30-meter scope can be, of these countries all joining in on this mission, not just for science, but as I read, a pursuit of knowledge to make us a better people and better stewards of this land, an international symbol of nations together for the pursuit of peace. And tell me what listener you have don't know inwardly, with all the turmoil of war for different reasons, that this world, how grateful it would be to have somewhere in this world, someplace that the monument for pursuit of peace for all nations. And having these 5 nations join us to develop this scope with that recognition and to make sure we do not make mistakes of past. Because every one of those nations, I think, have been guilty, as you may know, like Canada. I consider them my leader in regards to even terms like people of the First Nation of Canada. And they don't use indigenous people name anymore because of that. They just say of Canada, the people of the First Nation of. And that's why I think they've made that as almost a national policy of use of term for a couple of decades now. And when I learned that, it's exactly like Hawaii, and that's where I would say Hawaiians, the people of the First Nation of Hawaii.
Do you think that adding a relevant Hawaiian name to the 30-meter telescope would help increase its appeal within the community?
Oh, it could be. A name is important, obviously, for image and those things, but that's the top of the heap. We got to make sure that the base of it is solid, of good reasoning, of good total commitment. The name will only represent that. But unless you have that, it's just a name.
How do you think a Mauna Kea World Park could influence education in Hawaii?
I think that maybe there's a listener out there, Judge Heen. Judge Heen, is such a model in regards to the, maybe I shouldn't be mentioning his name, but, I was thinking of him this morning, or for education. And I know his strong feelings in regards to the scope, but I also know his very, very strong feelings for providing every opportunity for education, promoting and developing opportunities for education of people of all cultures, but especially of Hawaiian people, which we have not done a good job in many areas, although we are getting better because of Kamehameha School or even medical school, making provisions for Hawaiians to be reserved slots and just many different things. But I think to make Mauna Kea in regards to the people of the scopes, and when you develop this mountain and programs, you make it's mandatory that education be a very, very important part in the development of any program or project. Opportunities for education, not just a symbol of education, but providing programs, developing programs, or even what you design or what you build. The whole basis of it is for education. And again, as I've stated, to make us a better people and better stewards of this land from lessons of past.
How are you advocating for a Mauna Kea World Park on the county, state, and international levels?
I think the international level have the information I've been getting from people, from the Lunar Association, of full support of this. I think people from many places, we're desperate in this sense. We're desperate in the sense that this world needs something. We need to be better. We need to focus on something of extreme, absolute positiveness, and that's where I feel this mountain can be. Internationally, I've had enough feedback from the Lunar Association, from even the Rotaries have talked to their people internationally. And I was a little surprised, but very happy about it, people looking for something. And I tell myself, and I've told others, what better place in the world than Mauna Kea, the people of Hawaii, the middle of the world, the most isolated place of the world. History of a cosmopolitan people, history of the culture of the Hawaiians, are such beautiful people, and Mauna Kea to be that world symbol of peace on earth.
How can our listeners continue to get news about the Mauna Kea World Park?
How do people get in touch? This is just Harry Kim speaking. I don't speak in behalf of the county government on this issue. I am now speaking to different people because I'm asked to share, like you have asked to share. But right now, if they specifically want to talk to me about it, they can call me or email me. My name is Harry Kim. Position title now is the County of Hawaii. I'm the mayor. And if you want, email harrykim@hawaiicounty.gov. A simple way is just to write to Harry Kim, County of Hawaii, Mayor, County of Hawaii. I have no organization on this. It's just me.
What kind of help do you think you need to achieve your vision for a Mauna Kea World Park?
The biggest help, truthfully, is regardless of who you are or what role you play in this world of ours, is to show support on the mission of what was stated here. Pursuit of knowledge to make us a better people and better stewards. International symbol of nations together for the pursuit of peace. My goodness, what greater gift can anyone give than to say they stand for that? I guess that's another way of saying, people of war, we got to be better.
You're listening to KZSU Stanford 90.1 FM. Thank you for joining us today for our interview with Hawai'i County Mayor Harry Kim. Mayor Kim has been in public service for more than 30 years, and he will now tell us why he decided to work in public service.
I've been in public service ever since, and I don't want to make this too personal, because of life's lessons. I would say this because it is important on Mauna Kea. People who know me have heard it said it. We've made some very, very bad mistakes all over the world. I don't have to talk about world wars. I don't have to talk about war today. I don't have to talk about stupidity of racism and other things based on color, based on religion. That has been a part of our life. When you are old as I am, if you've seen the cruelty of wars, I take it very personally when, for example, horrendous videos of the gas warfare on children. I've always said for a long time, I believe that war is mankind's greatest failure. And I believe that as long as we think war is the answer to peace, there will always be wars. I believe that when we see and hear of children especially dying because of this greed, ignorance, stupidity of mankind, of adults, and the children trusted us. The children trusted us in regards to as who else can they trust. With all of that, you search, and that's why I use those words, better people, better stewards, nations together for the pursuit of peace, an international monument. This is just one person sitting down by himself when you think of our horrendous eras of the world, today, here, there, and everywhere. My God, you get desperate, and this is why these kind of feelings come out. And I'll close with this. This is not about Mauna Kea. This is a desperation for us to be better people.
How much work went into your winning the 2016 elections compared to the other elections that you won in the past?
I'm a mayor, but I don't consider myself a politician. Everybody knows that I was asked to run, and I didn't want to run. I wanted to continue dedicating my life to the kind of work I was doing on public safety internationally and, locally. And, when people asked me to run for mayor, I had no visions of ever wanting to be in politics, and I still don't, truthfully. It's just part of the job. I just consider myself a man with a title of mayor and doing a job. Everybody knows that I made rules for myself. I decided that there will be no campaign organization except my family. There will be no fundraisers. There will be no organization of any kind. There will be strict limitations on contributions. I will not seek any. But if anybody wanted to help me, nothing more than $10, regardless of who you are or what organization, will be accepted. And I've stuck to that. If you donated $10.90, I'll make it a point to return the 90 cents, because I said there will be no gray lines. There will be $10 and no more, regardless of who you are. And I've stuck to it with 3 elections. And by golly, it's common knowledge that other opponents have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and huge organizations and fundraisers, and fine, that's the way that we do things. But for myself, I decided no. And in that way, if I win, I can be the kind of mayor of independence from anything political.
How much time do you spend getting to know people?
My whole life, and I'm still getting to know. This is people that of the world, not just this island or state. We all have to do that. We've got to, because people are ever changing, values are changing, and you have to change by learning and keeping yourself open to what is happening. This is something that there's no time to start except when you're born, and no time to end except when you close the door.
And what advice would you give students who are thinking of going into public service?
Be true to yourself of why you're running. Always be true to that, and don't let the desire to win sway you from what you know is the truth of why you want to be in public service. Identify it and make sure it's based on what you feel is right. There's one politician that I've admired forever, and even in his passing, by the name of Mandela. And there are other leaders, but rarely do they come about. You learn from them, and you will see one common denominator. It is a right that they feel that made them the kind of leaders they are. And I'll close with Mandela. I've said this to other so-called people of leadership. Tell me where else in this world of ours that a president of a country dies and all of the world leaders of the world want to or show care or relationship of some kind with this leader at his funeral services. That don't happen to a man who is a president of a country that has no world power, that has no world economy of any kind, that has no world military of any kind. His claim to this kind of warmth and affection and respect is because of who he was and always identifying what was right. And regardless of what happened to him, like 26 or 27 years in prison, he came out even a stronger person of belief, and that's what guided him. That kind of commitment to a right is rare, and this is why he is on top of my poll as far as to try to aspire to in leadership.
Thank you so much for joining us today on KZSU Stanford 90.1 FM. We hope you enjoyed today's interview with the Honorable Hawai'i County Mayor Harry Kim. We would also like to thank Mayor Kim very much for his time and for today's interview, and we would like to thank the Mayor's office for helping facilitate this interview. For more information about Hawai'i County, please visit their website, hawaiicounty.gov. And we would also like to thank Steve Durst, founder and director of the International Lunar Observatory Association in Hawaii, for helping make this interview possible. And we would like to add that the views expressed in today's show are the views of the guest and do not represent the views